Hey guys, Theron Asbury here with Revital Outdoors, bringing you another exciting podcast. Tonight, we're going to interview Mr. Michael Morrison. Michael just won the BFL tournament on Dale Hollow Lake, so very excited to bring you another winning podcast tonight. We've got a lot of great information coming your way, and Michael's a phenomenal angler with Major League Fishing. You're going to see that in just a minute in the podcast, and we're going to get to hear from another winner from 2022. So a lot of great content coming your way. Before we get started, Revital Outdoors is very excited to announce that we are doing a $2,500 giveaway. We will pick that lucky angler at the end of the year. If you're a fishing nut like me and everybody else that we've interviewed in these podcasts, you definitely want to get in on that. The banner below right here will show you how to enter. So there's going to be a link at the top of the description right below this video. Make sure you hit that link, enter into your information. It takes 2 seconds to get in, and you will be in for that giveaway. Again, that winner will be chosen at the end of the year. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. That way you get notified when all of our content is dropping. Make sure you check us out, Revital Outdoors, on Facebook and Instagram. And if you've never heard of Revital Outdoors, we're a premium CBD company. We offer premium CBD products to all the outdoor enthusiasts out there. Our products are THC-free, made right here in America. They're great for all the different ailments that the outdoor enthusiasts are enduring. If you got aches and sorenesses, trouble sleeping at night, joint discomfort, whatever it may be, that's what our products are designed to do, to help more outdoor enthusiasts like ourselves to stay out in the field more comfortably, doing what they love and making more memories out there as well. So that being said, let's go ahead and bring in Michael Morrison. How you doing this evening, buddy?
Hey, Theron, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. First and foremost, man, congratulations. It's not your first rodeo winning a Major League Fishing tournament, but definitely glad to have you on. Really cool to see you pull off another victory on Dale Hollow. So, man, tell us a little bit about what your weekend consists of and what we were able maybe to put together in practice and how it all happened for you.
So, Theron, really it started the week prior to the Toyota Central Series, uh, um, the Toyota event down there on Dale Hollow. Went down. I took off vacation for the whole week. We went down, and Monday I idled for about 6 hours. And I knew what those guys were doing. All those guys were dropping on them. Small swim bait, 3-inch swim bait, small stuff. I knew that's what they were doing. Normally this time of year, Dale Hollow really sets up for like a Carolina rig or a jerk bait over top of grass or Alabama rig over top of grass. This year's is like nothing I've ever seen down there. We've been going to Dale Hollow for 20 years, and I personally have never seen it as low as it is right now. I think the last time I looked, I want to say it was like 14 feet down. So there's a lot of stuff that I normally fish that's out of the water. So we idled for about 6 hours on that Monday, and I started seeing schools of shad out in anywhere from 25 all the way out to 50 feet. So I probably found roughly about 10 schools of shad that had bait with them. On Tuesday, we went back out to those same areas. Of course, they were still there. I made probably 2 or 3 drops on each school, and it was unbelievable. It was me and my dad was fishing together. We were catching them. We were catching 5-pounders. My dad caught a 6-pounder. They were biting so good. He tripped his bail on his Carolina rig, let it roll over the side of the boat. One grabbed it before it hit the bottom. I mean, that's how crazy it was. Then, of course, you know how it all changes. The Wednesday before the tournament set in on Thursday, a storm came through down there, and I had 10 schools of fish, and everything left. I left. I ran out of there. I kind of got a little shaky. I ran out, and I ended up catching 3 fish, in that event on Thursday, and I had 3 fish on Friday. And I was really kicking myself in the tail, Thursday night. And I was pretty upset. So, I guess it was probably about Tuesday or Wednesday the next week, I slowly sat down and, I told myself, I said, man, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to throw that swim bait. I'm going to throw that. I'm going to drop on them. And then I'm going to have a Carolina rig and a wobble head, and I'm going to back up with that if I can't catch them dropping. Work. We went out Friday morning, and I idled those spots that I'd found those fish, and they were piled in there. I mean, they were really in there. And the first spot I pulled up on and idled, I didn't even make a cast Friday. I mean, I seen them in there, didn't make a cast at all. I idled 3 more spots on Friday, and I dropped on those and caught a 4-pounder on the first drop, just about on each one of them. I said no more. So I went trying to look for some other stuff. I looked for some stuff that I could kind of back up on, and if things really went south with the shad like it did before, I was hoping I could back it up with the Carolina rig and the wobblehead. And there was multiple places we pulled up on, and I mean, man, we were catching. I can't begin to tell you how many 3-pounders that we caught on a Carolina rig and a wobblehead. I mean, I just thought that that pattern would be something that if I could get 2 or 3 big fish dropping in a swim bait, that I could back up and catch 3 or 4 3-pounders, and that would get me in that 17 or 18-pound range with what these guys have been having that's winning down there. So it was probably Saturday. I pulled in to my first spot and really didn't pan out. Ran in on my next spot, and I really expected somebody to be there. There was nobody to drop. I'm not sure what it was. I caught a 4-pounder, and right then I seen him on a shad, and the best way I can explain it, and I've talked to people all day today, is it looks like sharks. I mean, you got a little ball of shad about that big on the screen, and you got dots that look like Tic Tacs just eating. So we fished that spot another probably 30 minutes. I caught a 14-inch smallmouth. It's like they just kind of left. They quit biting. So I ran a little bit farther down the lake and pulled in on those Carolina rig places that we caught some fish, and nothing. Never took a bite. And my co-angler, I told him, I said, man, listen, I said, if I got a chance to win, I got to go drop on them, and I got to throw this swim bait. So we ran down the lake into a little pocket down there, and we pulled in, and I dropped it, and it lit up like the 4th of July. I mean, they were really packed in there. They were eating. Probably second or third drop, I caught a 4-pounder. A couple drops later, I caught one about 3.5. And at that point, I had 4. And I mean, there was guys all around me. They were dropping. They were swim baiting. They were doing it. I mean, within 25, 30 yards, we were all sitting right there together. I ran out, and I pulled in on a little point that I really had some confidence in with the Carolina rig, and I was dragging that thing slow, and I caught a 2-pounder. And at that point, I said, all right, I got 5, and that was probably around noon. I told my co-angler, I said, man, listen, so we're going back up here to do this again. I said, it's really tough on the guy on the back of the boat when you're dropping on him with that live scope, and I'm chasing them. So we pulled back in on this other spot, and I looked down, and there was like 5, man, after this ball of shad. And I followed them for a few minutes, and for some reason, I can't tell you why, they turned and started right at me. And when they did, I made a pitch over, and they all 5 come up on it. And I shook it, and one grabbed it and took off running, and it was just scream and drag. And I've caught crappie doing this. I've caught drum doing this. And I told my co-angler when it grabbed it and took off, I said, man, there's no way that this is a bass. It may be a big smallmouth. I said, but the way it's digging, I said, man, there's no way. So it goes under the boat, comes up on the other side of the boat, and starts jumping. I got this on 8-pound test, and it's jumping on the other side of the boat. Comes down, comes back up, and he nets it, and it weighs 414. So I culled a 14-inch smallmouth with a 414. Probably 2 drops later, I catch one that weighs 411. I culled a 2-pounder, and that's when it kind of started to set in a little bit. I sat down, and I was trying to get everything back together again. I was shaking a little bit. I was a little bit nervous, and I told him, I said, man, I got a chance here. And I looked in the live well, and I opened it up. I looked in there, and he said, man, you got 20 pounds. I said, that's pretty good. I said, these guys were really catching them, But, I done most of my work with the Damiki armor shad, as you can see here. It's pretty tore up, beat up pretty bad. It did seem like this head made a little bit of a difference. I'm not sure why. It's a 3/8 ounce head. I could flip it out to these fish, and instead of it just sinking or swirling down, it would almost kind of swim. And when that would happen, I would get a lot of follows. If I could get them to come away from that shad and get up underneath the front of the boat, I could make another quick drop on them, and they would grab it pretty fast. I dropped some, custom poured heads here from a guy down there at Dale Hollow. You can see that it's really close to the moon eye. I dropped it a whole lot, and I caught some fish on that. But it seemed like the majority of the fish that I was catching was, either singles or doubles or maybe triples, something in that range. If you had the shad and they were inside the shad, they were very difficult to catch. I could drop down and drop through the shad and catch them on the bottom. But if they were setting up on top of the shad balls, man, it was lights out. It was however you wanted to catch them, as fast as you wanted to catch them.
Wow. Wow. So a couple things going off that. Sounded like you got a mixed bag that you weighed in. And then how many keepers did you end up catching throughout the day? I mean, it sounds from the sounds of it, it looks like you didn't go through like 30 minutes without catching a keeper.
So it sounds like it went, it was really wide open and all that stuff. But I didn't have a mixed bag. They were all largemouth. I culled the one, I culled the one smallmouth that I had with the 4-pounder, 4.5, 5-pounder, whatever it was. And, I probably caught, I think I caught 7 or 8 keepers through the day, something in that range, maybe 9 at the most. But it was, it sounds fast and furious because, you pull in and it's almost a numbers game. If you pass, you're tossing over on 5 fish or whatever, you may have to make 20 casts before you make the perfect cast, and then it kind of gets in front of them. They come up and get it. But I've done some stuff in practice. I threw a Venom Lures wobblehead, as you can see here. That bait is a really soft bait. It's got great action in the water. And we do some stuff, with a brush hog down there. We color the head orange and the tail a little chartreuse, as you can see. That kind of gives them something to kind of aim at, I think. And, they grab the tails a whole lot. And when the sun popped out, which it didn't really contribute on Saturday, but when the sun would pop out, we could throw the watermelon red mid-sized brush hog, and they like that pretty good.
Is that the new one or is that the baby?
That's the new one. That's the medium size. That's the medium size there. And I got some that's kind of been through the war there, that's kind of come apart and been tore apart and all that stuff. So, but it was definitely, to beat those guys down there on Dale Hollow. I mean, you've had these guys on the show I watch. You got Tristan Abbott, you got Brent Anderson, you got Brad Adkins is one down there. You got Mike DeVere, John DeVere. I mean, you got Bill Day. I know he didn't fish, but phenomenal guys down there. And you got these guys are just unbelievable to fish against every day. In that mountain division, I don't care what anybody says, it's one of the toughest divisions in MLF. Not a doubt in my mind. I mean, there's so many pros that fish it, But to me, I've won on Cumberland. I went on Cumberland in 2019, and it was special because it was the first one. I really, to me, I've been doing this since I was 16 years old, and I'm 35 now. I mean, I've been doing this, for a while, and to be able to win on Dale Hollow, a place that, we go down there and stay. I mean, we stay 2 months at a time. We just come back and forth. During COVID, I think we went down there and stayed like 29 days, and it's just a phenomenal fishery. The amount of 3.5 to 4.5 pound bass is just unbelievable. In 2 weeks, there's going to be a spring classic down there. It's the Birdstown Spring Classic. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you right now, every year there is 8-pounders, 9-pounders weighed in down there. And those guys can really, really wreck them down there when they get biting good.
I've heard a lot of great things about Dale Hollow. Obviously, you mentioned a lot of the guys that we've had on our podcast. Very fortunate to have interviewed Tristan Abbott, Brent Anderson. Had Brent Anderson on the podcast 3 times now. That dude's just a fishing nut. But
Yep.
One common thing I've gotten from Dale Hall, and unfortunately I've never gotten to fish it, hope to get there someday, is you're not even at the peak time of the year yet. It seems like it's more of a post-spawn swim bait lake.
So, really, probably right now, I mean, there are a lot of those guys. I think there was 7 or 8 bags over 18 pounds that weighed in. But if you really go back and look at it, there was a whole lot of 12-pound bags that was weighed in. Um, you know, my opinion on that is a lot of those fish had started to push shallow. They were trying to go. There's fish on the bed down there right now, and the water temperature's 54, 55 degrees. Normally this time of year, I mean, me and my brother-in-law were talking 2 weeks before this event. Well, really, the Music City, I think it was I think it was March the 5th down there. We were talking then, hey man, we're going to be catching them on the bed down there for that April the 9th. And we had some cold fronts that come in and set in, and it really hurt. It really hurt the fish. It backed them back off a whole lot. So we were continuously thinking they were going to move up on these flats and get up shallower, in that 15 to 20 foot range, to where we could drag out there and catch them, or Alabama rig or jerk bait or something like that. And it just never happened. They never made that move to where we could catch them. That contributes to the water being so low that those fish, they don't have that cover. They love to get up there in that buckbrush and the willow trees down there. I'm telling you, in about 2 weeks, it's really pounds weighed in that spring classic down there in 2 weeks.
I got you. You ever think that there'll be a chance for a dirty 30 on that lake? Because it seems like, looking back at the weights, it's just getting better it's one of the only lakes in the country that seems to progressively getting better every year.
Yes, I honestly think so. Hey, we're just be real here. There's a lot of local guys down there that's probably transporting a few fish from a place called Chickamauga. I'm sure everybody's aware of.
That's all right.
I mean, I know it happens, and I mean they're talking. I know these guys are bringing 7, 8, 9, 10 pounders up there. I mean, you look at that fish Brandon Anderson caught. That fish wasn't a Del Hollow fish. You see that thing? I mean, it had the big Florida eyeballs. It had all that stuff. It wasn't.
It was
And
a Florida string. It's got the spots. It had the big
yeah,
eyes. It had the shoulders.
yep,
That was a Florida
yep,
string fish that he caught. And it seems like, Chickamauga is the only lake that they've released those in. So in
that's
your
right.
area. So I can believe it. It's something. I grew up in Oklahoma. It's something that a lot of guys are doing. They're going down to Sam Rayburn and the Toledo Bend for the day.
Yep,
And they're putting, the aerator batteries, directly on the aerators in their boats, and they're
yep,
hauling them back up to the Oklahoma lakes. It happens.
yep.
I'm not arguing it. I mean, I
Oh
think every
no,
lake in the country should have 10 pounders, to be honest with you. I mean,
that's
that keeps
right.
more people wanting to go fishing.
I'm originally from Eastern Kentucky. And Jason Kenner is doing a great thing back there. He's trying to get some F1s introduced into Paintsville Lake.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing swab studies. They're doing all this stuff, and they're trying to bring revenue to Eastern Kentucky to get people there that want to fish. And there's a lot of great anglers that come from that direction. It's just we got a lot of small lakes. When I moved here, 12 years ago, whatever it's been now, I moved here to Georgetown, Stamping Ground, Central Kentucky. And man, I'm not going to lie to you. I was a bank beater. I wanted to flip every piece of wood.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to crankbait every piece of wood, a spinner bait. And I come down here and I got my butt kicked for a long time at Del Hollow, at Barron, at Cumberland. And, these fish go shallow. And honestly, they go shallow about 5 or 6 weeks out of the year. And then if you don't get back out there with them in that 20 to 25, 30 feet range, guess what? You're going to get your tail kicked some more, and that's what, and I've tried to make myself learn that, and kind of get out there with those guys. But I went back out Sunday afterwards. Me and my dad went back out and fished a little local tournament down there. And this, Dale Hollow is so special. We went back out there, and dude, I caught a 22-inch smallmouth that weighed 530 out there on Sunday. Same way, same spot, same area. We ended up having, I think me and my dad had 16 in the mid 16s, and we got second place. There was another guy had 17 pounds, but the sun come out, and about 11 o'clock, man, those fish just fizzed out and they quit. And we went shallow and tried to Carolina rig, and they were sunning everywhere. They were trying their best to move up and start making beds. and it's just a matter of time down there till it really gets good again. So.
Good for you. So, well, Michael, really honored to have you on the podcast. Again, congratulations on your win this last weekend. Really awesome stuff that you did. Finesse fishing is just dear to my heart. You were kind of wrenching at me there because unfortunately living in fishing or in Florida, I don't get to do as much anymore. And to hear a guy catch over a 20-pound bag, multiple keepers throughout the day throwing that Demiki rig, that got really popular when I moved down to Florida. So I haven't got to experiment with it a whole bunch, but really awesome to hear from you. Dale Hollow is a lake forever on the bucket list until I can get there. So before we let you go, looking at your social media, looks like you have a lot of people that support you, a great family
Yep.
base as well, a great group of people that help you out in the area where you live now there in Kentucky. So anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Bill Day up Frankfort, Kentucky. If I've got an issue, I take it up there to Days Marine, dude, and they get it in and out. Lucas Oil, phenomenal products. Anything you need with them, clean your boat, shine your boat, lube your boat up, whatever you need, they got it. Venom Lures been with me, man, for over 5 years now. They got great products. It's all soft hand poured stuff up there. They can make just about anything you want. That Dream Crawl is death on them. When they start getting up in that 10 to 15 foot of water and the tails start pumping, man, they just can't stand it. Brother-in-law Tim McDonald, my wife, my kids, Paisley Cash and Bryson, and Brandy. It's to be able for her to take care of the kids and stuff, and I get to go fishing means a lot. It's very difficult to do. My mom, my dad, my sister, just anybody I forgot, I appreciate it, phenomenally. It's just unbelievable. And to be able to win two of these things and have a chance to maybe one day do it for a living. I mean, I'm 35 years old. I walked into work today and I told him, I said, hey, wife had to push me out of bed this morning. I made some money on Saturday. So they got a kick out of that. And all the guys at work and all that stuff, super nice. And, and I'm the type of person that, if you ask and you're struggling, man, you come up to me and I'll show you what I'm doing. It doesn't bother me a bit. I'll help you if you need it. So I appreciate you having me on, Theron. This is a phenomenal thing you're doing here, everything. And I watch every show. You had one of my buddies on, Nick McGuire. He's a kayak guy. We grew up. We grew up catfishing and stuff together. He's great. I ain't gonna lie. I probably showed him most of the things he knows. Nah, I'm just kidding. But
Hey, we all do that for each other.
Yeah, it is. But like I said, anybody that I forgot, man, I thank you, and I hope one day I'll be back on here again. It's just great.
Absolutely. So, well, Michael, really appreciate you coming on our podcast. Love to have you back on because that usually means really great things. For all the listeners out there, you've been talking to Mr. Michael Morrison. He just got done winning the Dale Hollow BFL tournament this last weekend. So thank you, Michael, for being on. Make sure you follow him on his social media accounts. He's got a lot of great fishing content, fishing a lot of great tournaments in the Kentucky, Tennessee area, doing really, really well. Phenomenal angler. He's got a hell of a background with Major League Fishing. As you can see right there on his boat, his credentials speak for themselves. So make sure you follow him. Also, before we let you go, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And then you've seen the banner scrolling at the bottom. Make sure you hit that link at the top of the description right below this video. Enter into our $2,500 giveaway. That's a giveaway package at Revital Outdoors. We'll choose a lucky angler at the end of the year, and I promise you're not going to want to miss it. From all of us at Revital Outdoors, thank you for tuning into this podcast. Be safe out there. God bless. We'll talk to everyone very, very soon.